This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello, and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena, we're going rogue. I've just wanted to say that really badly. Dimir rogues. Dimir freaking rogues. All I hear, all day, all night, where's the rogues? If you haven't followed me on Twitter, you might want to. I tweeted out 2 days ago during the event that I was playing Dimir rogues and hadn't lost in 2 hours, and I put my list there. So sometimes if I really like a deck and I don't want to wait to get the list out there, you can get it on Twitter a day or two before it makes its way to a YouTube video. So there's a link in my description if you care. Anyhow, I like this deck so much. Dimir rogues is not only a good deck, it has a ton of options, and I'm not even sure I have the options completely right. But I am sure that this is one of the premier decks and has the ability to get to Mythic, absolutely. The ability to compete in tournaments, potentially. We have to figure out the right mix of cards, and there's a lot of good ones to choose from. There's a lot of cards I'm not even running in this deck. But let's start with what I am running. 4 Thieves Guild Enforcer, 4 Merfolk Windrobber. These to me are the key early pieces in the game, because if you don't have early aggressive drops to start the mill train, a bunch of your other cards are a lot worse. In this build of the deck, Drown in the Loch and Nighthawk Scavenger and Zarasan the Trickster are relying on my opponent having cards in the graveyard to be good. So Merfolk Windrobber, whenever it hits the opponent, is going to make them mill a card. So playing that on turn 1 can mill a few cards over time. Later in the game, you can sacrifice it to draw a card when the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, which comes in handy if you're flooding out, or you just draw a bad 1/1 for 1 late in the game. Thieves Guild Enforcer. Very key rogue. Flash. We saw this in M21. If you watch my channel, you've seen me play this card a lot. I probably don't need to introduce it, but just a reminder, whenever any rogue enters the battlefield, you get to mill 2 cards. I want to remind you because, well, there's a lot more rogues now than there used to be. Playing this with Slitherwisp often didn't even trigger it. Then the next key rogue is Soaring Thought Thief. This card is amazing. This is a 1/3 flash flyer, and as long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in a graveyard, rogues get a boost, +1/+0. Whenever 1 or more rogues you control attack, each opponent mills 2. So every attack step you're getting mills. If you had a Thieves Guild Enforcer, you got a mill trigger from this coming down. It is not hard to make 3/2 Thieves Guild Enforcers by turn 3. Sometimes you can even pull it off on turn 2 if the opponent like cracked a Fabled Passage or something, and I don't know. They would have to put 2 cards in the graveyard, but I bet it can happen. Anyway, once the graveyard is full, you have like Drown in the Loch that's really good. I also have Nighthawk Scavenger. This new card is a house. Oh my goodness, does it hit hard. If the opponent can't kill it, it crushes them. And let's just face it, Mono Red isn't trying to kill things, and neither is the Omnath deck. So Nighthawk Scavenger is a beatdown machine, and getting this up to a 6 and 7/3 for 3 mana isn't particularly hard when you're going crazy with mill triggers from Enforcer and Soaring Thought Thief. And after that, the other new card here, Zarasan, when it does a ninjutsu impression, which is an old mechanic from Kamigawa. It's on its own, 5 mana 4/4 flash, but you can, whenever you have an unblocked rogue, pay 4 to sneak this into play after blockers have been declared with an unblocked rogue. So you return your Windrobber, you put in your Zarasan, and then you get the hits trigger, which is whenever this hits an opponent, you go into their graveyard, you pick your favorite permanent, and you get to put it on the battlefield under your control. That'll tilt them. So, Zarasan is a good card. It is the most likely trap I think people will fall into with the deck, though. Because when you are ahead, it's very good, and when you are behind, it's just kind of okay. He's an alright card, but most of the time we can probably do better, but there's no way I'm not going to play him here on day 1, early on. Like, dude is freaking sweet. And then we've got Rankle. Like, we'll go over some of the other cards really quick. The other rogues that are going to support the cast are Brazen Borrower, 4 of those, 3 Rankles. That probably doesn't surprise anyone. Rankle is a ton of value, and you can sacrifice your cards like Wind Robber that aren't doing too much and make the opponent sacrifice their creatures. You also want to make the opponent discard and draw pretty often because you both want to clock them by dealing extra damage, and you want to fill their graveyard by making them discard. So you end up picking a lot of Rankles modes very often in this deck, and the haste is often a good way to put the opponent away after you interact with them a little into a Rankle. And then Brazen Borrower, the only trick I want to point out with this card, it's already a very good card. You know this card. You love this card. You can return the Brazen Borrower to your hand with the Zerasan and then cast the Petty Theft instant ability again, which is nice. So in the mana base, this deck actually has mana trouble. So I ended up running Temple of Deceit as well as Pathway as well as Passage, and I don't like doing it. I'm also running a lot of land equivalents. So we have 21 regular lands. Then I go up to 4 Agadeem's Awakening, which is... it can bring creatures back from your graveyard later in the game, and since we have a nice curve of rogues, I often imagined the opponent might sweep the board, and then I'd cast Agadeem's Awakening for 3 or 4, and get back Thieves Guild Enforcer, Soaring Thought Thief, Night Hack Scavenger, and Rankle Master of Pranks all at once. That would be pretty epic. Hasn't happened yet. So this card is kind of on, I don't know that I actually need it watch, and I wouldn't recommend crafting it unless you're sure you want to play with this card a lot, because it is mythic, and you could just be running a swamp, or another one of these kind of lands that have modal use that are so many in the set. Hagra Mauling is the other one. Okay, in Standard, I have yet to cast this for 3. The opponent always has a basic land by like when you would want to play this. So it is a 4-mana murder effect, which is really expensive and not really what you want to do, but it's probably better than drawing another land in the late game, and being a tap land early is also a pain. So I don't even know if these cards are what I want to do. I'm trying to do some of the Zendikar stuff with my mana base. It might just be better to run basics, and that's about it, you know, to make sure that you can actually curve out and smash the opponent. So I don't feel like these are necessary, and I just want to make sure I get that out there. In the flex spots, I try some different things. I think my first game that I'm going to show you has a Vantress Gargoyle in here, and I certainly tried Vantress Gargoyle. Vantress Gargoyle is good, but not reliable and mills a bit too slowly to turn itself on, so on its own it's pretty poor. It's good when paired with the other cards, but if you have the other cards, you'd rather just play those and more rogues. So Vantress got cut. I like Lofty Denial. We actually have a lot of flyers. Like, there's an absurd amount of flying in the deck, so maybe there should be even more Lofty Denials than there are. Bloodchief's Thirst is necessary because the Cobra must die. If the Cobra lives, the Lotus Cobra, everything falls apart. So definitely run 4 Bloodchief's Thirst, 4 Drown in the Lock. After that, the flex spots are interesting, but I'm liking Lofty Denial. Cards I'm not going to run. What is the new card? Oh god, I hate it when I forget new card names, even though it's very understandable because, you know, they're new, but at the same time everybody tries to correct me. Maddening Cacophony. Don't play cards that just mill the opponent. If this is all the card does, please don't play it, because you need to be aggressive. You need your cards to give you board presence or interact with your opponent and keep them from messing with your board. So if you play a card like this, it seems like an easy fix to turn on all your cards. Maddening Cacophony, that was. It seems like an easy fix to turn on all your cards. In reality, you're not applying enough pressure, and you should be playing other cards that play with your rogue strategy instead of worrying about the graveyard, because Thieves Guild Enforcer, Merfolk Wind Robber, and Soaring Thought Thief, as well as killing and countering your opponent's stuff, is going to fill their graveyard. That's going to be under control. All right, I've discussed the deck enough. Hopefully, longer deck techs always when we start a new set, because I have to explain new cards. Let's dive in and let the nonsense begin. Oh! If you are one of those awesome cool kids who has a Twitch Prime sub on the Twitch channel and you don't go to Twitch very often, now is the time of the month to go renew. They do not automatically renew, so please renew Twitch Prime. Thank you. Love you. Means a lot to me. Let's dive in. Nonsense. Begin. Go. Rogue. Now. That's a lot of flying merfolk rogues. So there was an old school card called Flying Men So I may use that from time to time. Don't get mad at me for genderifying the flying merfolk rogues as flying men. It was a magic card. Paper Boomer magic card, for sure. So this is why we can keep the hand. It's also a swamp. Well, also kind of a swamp. A painful swamp. Let's get him. So what am I supposed to do? I know. Obey. I'll pay 3 for that. Nice top deck. Thought Thief makes all these cards significantly better. 2 lands. 3 lands. Hope you didn't need those. Okay, definitely an Omnath deck, and there's Cobra Boy. No. Absolutely not. Why does it still say... I'm just going to hit this. I didn't actually desire to mute them. It just, for some reason, stuck there. Alright, still not enough yet to turn these on. My goodness, the hype music. Hype music, please. You're being too loud. Backup Cobra? Disgusting. Are there... I don't see any spells here other than the Borrower, so I'm starting to get worried that my opponent's hand is 100% Goodens. But we've got Drown in the lock. Do we want to use it to counter what the Cobra would play, or is the right play to kill the Cobra? Because the opponent might miss a land drop, or we'd probably be happier countering the Omnath than the Cobra, and then Rankle can take it out next turn if we draw a land, which we should be able to. Because we can sacrifice Wind Robbers if we absolutely need to get desperate. So this is a 6-point attack. Mana is awkward. I'd love to deploy this, but it doesn't look like a good idea. And we see the Genesis Ultimatum, we see Ancient Green Warden. Alright, end turn. You've got a Cobra. I'm going to counter what you do. Still no Uro, by the way. Of course they have the passage. May I have taken all your basic land? That would be nice. Unlikely, but nice. Okay, cracking now means it's actually not an... It's not going to be an Omnath. They would play the Omnath first. Uh-huh. No. Counter. Get wrecked. Alright, land off the top. Opponent at 11. Is Rankle game? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, Rankle is game. Ah, it's not a land. Alright. We can try to draw into the land, play the Rankle to get rid of the Cobra. But then we don't deal the damage. I mean, they could beat me next turn with a Cobra on the field. And what is our turn otherwise? It's not particularly great. Be gutsy. Okay, that will do. That will do. Down Cobra. Gargoyle to the field. Big body. There's an Uro crap. Alright. That changes the clock. But the opponent can't bring it back. The mana is a little awkward. They need an untapped green or blue. And they're casting an Uro. Technically makes them not dead. Because this is 9. They're now at 10. I did miss 2 damage by not attacking first, but remember, the plan was to draw a land and play Rankle. Seems a little bit too lucky to rip another Thirst, but I took, you know, we'll take it. But alright, it's a crab. Opponent's ready to mill me. Still not a land. If we draw a land, we win the game. Let's try it. Yes! All 4 wind robbers before we drew a 4th land, you know. Insert complainy shuffler thingy majiggy that makes certain people on the internet angry. Out of there. Oh. Almost nice. Hand is fine, but it kills Lotus Cobra. I had Vantress Gargoyles in the deck, and I cut them for more land equivalents in Temple of Deceit, because every game so far today has been decided by bad mana. So that's a few changes. So our opponent's showing us Lurrus, and they play a turn 1 Wind Robber. We could answer with our own Wind Robber, or we could set up our mana. And I think setting up the mana is a lot better. Brazen Borrower? I really don't know. Okay, with Lurrus, they're only going to have cheap cards, which makes Borrower a lot worse. Okay, so super cheap rogues, interesting. And already 3 cards in our graveyard. Drown off the top. So thirst this thing for sure, and then play Wind Robber, I suppose. Try to trade robbers. They're not going to have Nighthawk Scavengers, but they probably have some good removal spells. I'm curious to try a Lurrus version. Scavenger, Rankle, Zerasan. Those are powerful cards, but my goodness, do I have trouble casting my spells. A cheap version might be able to mitigate some of that. Opponent giving me the rope on this attack. Let's give it a try. If they have a Duelist, that'll be annoying, but I don't know how many people are going to play that card. Doesn't look very good to me. We got a Thinker. I'd like to draw Pathways. Ooh, Call of the Death Dweller. Just get them back. Bam. So what's this? Menace. It's this. Death Touch. Fun. Alright, we have an untapped black. We can play the Scavenger. The opponent probably has a way to kill it. I don't think it will be particularly important in the matchup. So we definitely want the Thirst, and then I think we hold up Drown in the lock. Pay 3 for the privilege of having Drown in the lock available. This is probably going to be a close game. We each have 4 cards. Who gets to resolve their key spells and do powerful things is probably going to win. What would I discard? I guess I'd discard the land. This is a rogue, this is a rogue. Let's try to get in a position where we can play a Scavenger and protect it with Drown in the lock. If we can get there, I think our deck will be more powerful than theirs, but we need to actually get our Scavenger to stick. Maybe the opponent will remove this Thieves Guild Enforcer and we can go for the Scavenger. Okay, Thought Thief definitely will probably get the opponent... We'll get the opponent to make a play. If we play Thought Thief, it mills 2 cards because it's a rogue. Thieves Guild Enforcer triggers. Then when we attack with the Enforcer, it triggers the Thought Thief, mills 2 more, so it'll be 8 cards in graveyard, so Enforcer can go through the Expert. Expedition Skulker. Ugh. They definitely play some cards I'm like, that looks like my draft deck. Wait a minute, I don't have a draft deck. What am I saying? If the opponent has removal, they're going to do something about this board. There's a Drown. 1 card left. If they buy the Lurrus, I don't think it's a removal. It's another call. They're looking in their graveyard. That's a pretty nasty thing to let resolve. Yep, there you go. But I don't know how good that is. I give this one Death Touch. I mean, we take this out. These have Menace, so this gets to keep attacking. But as long as we kill this, the higher priority target, the Scavenger will still control the board. So let's get Scavenger on the field. And see if the opponent rips removal. If they do, ouch. They buy Lurie. It's not a land. It's not a removal. Whoa. Strong. I mean, this is a block, right? They can sacrifice the robber to draw a card. Instead, they gave me 6 life. Okay. Okay. Not the way I would have played my turn. There are many options in life and in Magic. You do what works for you. Apparently aggression. Aggression is the name of the game. Okay, the card held was a Thieves Guild Enforcer. We need to counter the Luris, so Enforcer resolves. You're not going to race the Scavenger, so I don't care about this. When the opponent tries to hold back the Thought Thief to block the Scavenger, I can give it the Brazen Borrows. No Lurie. No Lurie for you. But I like the idea of Luris in the deck to keep the creatures coming back over and over. So I'll have to try this version, like, for sure. Deck size, still a lot to go, 33 to 39, nothing to worry about. Okay, let's see if we can draw a removal spell before we play the Borrower on the Thought Thief, which can just flash back in. We can. We did. Six, 3. That lifelink, man. 3 mana, better than a bigger hit than a Baneslayer. 3 mana Elder Gargaroth. What a ball of stats. There's the draw. Another Thought Thief. They can flash that back in, so bouncing it out of the way isn't good. Acquisitions Expert for my Borrower is good for them. But they have to chump. And if we draw removal, we win. Oh, that's good too. That will do. Rank 'em. Rank 'em and spank 'em. I only know one emote now. Nobody knows what it means. But it's mine. It's an interesting tempo hand that's on the play. Let's keep it. And I'm trying to think if I want to play the Mauling or not. Or if I want to play this, tapped. And I'm really unsure. I mean, curving out 4 mana seems good because these are some hard-hitting cards, but with no removal and just tempo, I really don't know about the Mauling. So I'm going to hang on to it, and I'm going to play this tapped for now. Look, ghost, 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 ghost. Props on Black Fox over here, looking spiffy. Blue source. Give me something to Brazen Borrow. Yeah, that's something. Not what I want to Brazen Borrow, but it is something. And now there's a basic in play, so the Mauling doesn't work. Alright, we gotta mill him. Or we just have to maul next turn. Let's get a Scavenger down. This is not the way you want your game against this deck to go without mill sources. The rope is going to be real when you play against Lotus Cobra deck. There's just so many options, and you've got to add up the mana, you got to figure out which color to make, you got to figure out which play to make followed by which play. It's really frustrating, to be honest. You have choices in your pathways. The design team leaned into design complexity in a huge way, and some people are going to hate it. I'm not going to lie. I could eventually be one of those people. It makes every turn so hard. The honest truth about things in 2020 is when they're hard, you just say, nah, I'm going to go do something else. But the true warriors will rise above, right? Our opponent walked into turn 4 Omnath, no problem. No mana issues for our opponent. We can bounce it. Seems bad. We don't have enough in the graveyards to counter anything. I mean, I guess we have to bounce it. Like, what else can we do? We've got to fill the graveyard, and our hand just did not do that. Drew the wrong side of the deck. It'll be a Fabled Passage. It's always a Fabled Passage, see? Now, we could have tried to wait for the Fabled Passage crack from our opponent to then bounce the Omnath, but if they didn't have the Fabled Passage, we would have been so much better off. Now, though, we probably lose, so I guess that's a play I have to play around from now on. Because they get this huge mana tempo thing that is hard to recover from. Visionary. Cobra. Yeah, all the pieces coming together. There's going to be 3 cards in the graveyard. We can kill a Cobra. And then there'll be four cards in the graveyard from killing a Cobra, so maybe we can counter something. I think that's better than trying to get Brazen Borrows. Oh wait, 4 cards in the graveyard means we can kill the Omnath too. Make them rebuild. They don't have the mana for Genesis Ultimatum. If they have a white source on the field, they can't play Genesis Ultimatum for 7 if they don't have a Cobra. Okay, it's good. This is fine. How about a third Lotus Cobra? Can we get a third? Can we get a third Lotus Cobra? Anybody? Another 4 life, another Visionary, yeah. Doing it. Soaring Thought Thief. That can mill. Rankle can make them discard, I guess. Discard and draw. I think it's the Rankle. We just have to deal a lot more damage. I think they're going to go off. So, each player discards, no. Lose a life, draw, yes. Sacrifice a creature, not really. They just give up a Visionary that I don't think they need. Man, you just can't race this Omnath. You need a... Like, we had our hand would have been great with like a Thieves Guild or 2, but it didn't have enough early plays to get cards in the graveyard, so the opponent just got so far ahead of us. They also had really good mana in a deck where, really, if you can make the mana struggle, you can usually get ahead. Ow. Interesting. I'm at 20-something. What are you playing? I had assumed I was going to get Ugin or something. No. Is it a Shark Typhoon? Could definitely be a Shark Typhoon. Bloodchief's Thirst cannot kill anything because we can't kick it. I could play another Scavenger. I think it's the Thief. We can't really play around a Typhoon here. But we can Blood Chief's Thirst it after it eats our best creature. Mystical Dispute is a card. Okay. Bone Crush the Robber. I can sacrifice that, so that's fine. Alright, that could have gone a lot worse for us. Lose a life draw. Discard. I can discard the Thirst. It's not very efficient right now. Okay, we're still in this somehow. What is up with their hand? Is it all land? Could be. Now we have Brazen Mana to keep the pressure on. Backup Omnath? Oh my goodness. What's... Please, Wizards, when do we get a reveal hand button? I really want to know what their hand is. Oh my goodness. Okay, we were at their mercy. I can't imagine. Their hand must have been all land. I can't imagine what was... Ooh. Compared to how the deck worked on stream, I'm not feeling it so far, but this hand looks very good. So maybe it's time to stop getting the medium hands and start smashing things. Definitely lead with the Enforcer because then we get a mill 2 trigger off the Robber. And because it has Flash, we can flash it in. While the opponent tanks on turn 1, let's enjoy their sleeves. Yeah. Okay, this is key, guys. If your opponent ever land Crack Fable Passage and you have an Enforcer, mill them. What if they only have one of the basic they're looking for and you mill it? Or 2. Alright, Adventures. Adventures. Interesting. So, we might need to bounce a Clover. But I think we need to get the Robber on the field and just be aggressive. Mythos. F. I mean, it's your adventure deck. Your flex spot can be whatever you want it to be. Alright, I'm very worried about the Bone Crusher Giant off this Lucky Clover, but what the heck. Let's be aggro. And mill. And pump. Nice. Just in time, we can sacrifice this to draw a card if the opponent has a Bone Crusher. They probably need to target it here. So both decks are on their good draws. This will be interesting. Looking in the graveyard at permanents I want already. I guess Beanstalk Giant is okay. Probably not great. Double Lovestruck. That is not bad. That's not a Brazen Borrower or a Bone Crusher Giant, and those are the good cards. That's a draw. That pushes a bit of extra damage and gets more mill triggers. These can trade with this, and we take mana down for Drown in the Lock, but countering spells isn't very good when they have Clover anyway. So let's push the damage. Oh, what a gamer. Alright. So do we want to trade for the 1/1s? I think we just hold this back. The mill triggers could end up wrecking the opponent in the long run, if the damage doesn't. Down to 9. And their library is at 35. For those keeping track of the mill win ability. And this is blue-green. Yeah, it is. They didn't fetch red. I should have picked up on that quicker, but looks like it's 100% Simic Adventure. The opponent grabbing Uro here. If they still have a land drop, they can bring it back. And we're going to have to try to show the world that we can beat Uro. So, Nighthawk Scavenger is going to throw punches. Let's see if the opponent can exile cards from the graveyard to make the Scavenger better. Oh, they have to double Uro. They didn't. They weren't able to go land, bring Uro back. That's a big deal. I think everybody, not everybody, but I have received hundreds of messages from people when I talk about rogues saying that Uro just solos the deck. I have found that to be not even close to true. It can solo the deck, depending on context, but it's definitely not a sure thing. As you see, it's going to take a long time for Uro to eat 18, 19 cards. Unfortunately, we're bottlenecked on blue mana again, so we're just leaning on this Drown in the Loch to get us through one more turn. The opponent only has 4 mana to bring Uro back at sorcery speed once. They'll need a Brazen Borrower as well. Yeah. Nobody knows what it means. Self-mill. Awesome. Awesome. Gonna see if we can mill out our opponent here. Thanks for being a fan, by the way. The pump fake it. Okay, come on, bro. This is why Yorgo emote needed to stay in the game. Nonsense like this. But hey, you BM me. I BM you. Hi! Because I may never play it for the rest of the game, and this person clearly wants to see the BM. Derazan. It's a pretty awkward hand, to be real. The black sources are tapped. I probably want to lead on a temple. We're on the draw. I do want a removal spell. Oh, man. I'm in for a tough one. I don't know. Am I supposed to play the Wind Robber? Am I supposed to play the Temple? Let's see what we draw. That helps a lot. That lets me go Wind Robber, Temple, Scavenger, Rankle. Temple into Triome. What are you cooking? Let's see. Show me a card. Not what I was hoping for. Oh, you are one turn late, too. You'll come in handy, though. Not the card we wanted to see, everyone. You. What are you going to take? Scavenger is our next turn's play, but fortunately we have a Soaring Thought Thief on top if they take it. The Rankle's probably the actual best card, since there's an Uro to eat the graveyard, but the opponent took the Scavenger. They're trying to slow our curve down. Alright, fetching. Making fetch happen. Turn Timber Symbiosis in this deck, along with Agonizing Remorse. Uro can come back, but they fetched a swamp, so Uro can't come back. I think I'm going to need my spell lands, so let's hang on to them instead of taking this opportunity to play something tapped. Nothing. So they want to kill the Rankle, I'm guessing? If we just attack with both, they might kill the Thief? I guess them killing Rankle's okay. I'm not going to do that much to them with it, honestly. It's a bit of a pricey rogue, so... Okay, if you want to do something to Rankle, go ahead. Good to see you mana screwed, though. Enjoying that part of my day. How could you be so heartless? At least we'll hit for 4 here. Yeah, get their lands into the graveyard, yeah. Nothing more tilting to an Uro deck than not getting to play lands or Uro. I bet right now they're fuming, like, oh, if I could bring back my Uro. If I could bring back my Uro, you'd have no chance, CGB. No chance at all. We're going to play the Mauling and get ready to use an Awakening to bring back our creatures, because the opponent's going to keep on killing them or bouncing them or doing nasty stuff. Actually, that is fine. How come I didn't get the chance to replay it? It has Flash. I guess I have to use full control in that moment. Alright, you have Shark Typhoon in your deck. Good to know. Mill them up. Mill them into the ground. Do we see any sweepers? I don't see an extinction event. I'm sure they play it, though. The opponent's going to have a Borrower. Oh man, do I get the Awakening ready? I think I just hold back. I'm going to have a lot of regrets, though, if they somehow sweep the board, but I don't think they will. Event exiles anyway. I can't imagine what they would play that would destroy these. Like Cry of the Canarium rotated. Did they miss another land drop? Okay, they have Thirst. That is a destroy option. 2 mana open. Zerasan! Do they have Heartless Act? Well, let's see. If they do, they're going to play it right before damage, because that's been their pattern. Alright, we're not going for it until we're sure. We can always flash this in if they tap their mana. Shark! Sultai, good stuff, no land. So sad. Such a tragedy. What do I do if they say go? Do I play Zerasan? I think I do. Okay, they're going to Extinction Event. Those are gonna die, but then Zerasan. And I'm getting their Gargaroth, so nice. Aren't you glad we held this back? Aren't you glad we went flash mode? Maybe I should get something even. They have another event, right? Oh, baby. Easy choice. Now if they Extinction Event again, naming Odd, we can Hagra Mauling our own Zerasan to make a 4/4, and that's game. 5 mana do what? G-Unit? Rip G-Unit. You die at the jaws of your own Shark Typhoon. What could be better? That's a keep. That's a pretty nice hand. Get me a blue source, get me a robber. Robber of the Wind. It's not a robber of the rich. Mono red. This is mono red. Nemesis. Mono red. Mill the red mage. Wait, that's not red. Something else. It's a landfall. Red-green landfall. Ooh. Evolving Wilds. But that makes your creature huge. Attack for 4 on turn 2. That's nuts. Pure madness. Get him. So close to turning on the thief right there, but oh well. We could have killed this to do it, but it still wouldn't have taken effect till after, so I'm not missing any damage. Not missing any damage. What I'm really torn up on here is, do I fetch blue or do I fetch black? Totally letting this happen. I'm hoping the opponent plays like this GOP'd or something for 3 mana that I can bounce. I'd rather use a borrower than the drown. Alright, that works. Boingy. And do I fetch here? I guess I'll get a blue. But yeah, that's a tough call. Alright, the temple. What's the temple got on top of the deck for me? Another land. I guess that's a really good curve, right? Well, kind of. It depends. Next turn we can hold up Drown in the Loch and play a borrower. That's probably more than enough to kill the opponent. Let's keep it. Mill him. Mill him and kill him. Ram through. The weapon of choice. The removal spell we must respect. Mammoth to the field. Land to the battlefield. Pump the Hellhound. Schmork schmork. Yep. I prefer to engage in a race. If they're not going to do anything that can block these, we can win the race, so there's no need to kill or bounce something. Oh! We just found a reason to kill or bounce something. Petty theft that. Rankle could get in, but let's just do Drowned Borrower into Rankle. They can't beat that. Cobra. Okay. Doesn't immediately lose me the game, so... But it's a scary card, man. Just gotta let it be. Mammoth, sure. Doesn't scare me. Play Brazen Bee. Play Ranky, the one that is rank, and bring the pain. Whew! Dimir on a tear. Let's do it. Fly the friendly, deceptive blue and black skies. Oh, it's a saucy hand. Oh yeah, we're doing this. Fervent champion. All right, classic showdown. Me against Mono Red. The true nemesis. They were going to draw 2 lands in a row. I wonder if they needed those. I'm going to play the Thief now. Some of you are going to yell ambush with the Thief, but if the opponent attacks with mana open, I would never ambush with the Thief. Because, you know, Bonecrusher Giant, Shock, Rimrock Knight. It's a horrible play. So, we're going to play the Thief now to get the mill triggers and fill the graveyard so that our Thieves Guild Enforcer can do some serious work. Wow, the next several cards of their deck really sucked. I hope that doesn't mean their hand is amazing, but it probably does. You know, statistically speaking. See, they have no problem attacking into the Thief. The best thing about red since rotation is you just let it hit you. You don't have to worry about things like light up the stage. That sucked. That's nice. Alright, so Annex is about to come down. On the other hand, we could play this, mill the opponent. If we mill them here, we hit for 3. Is that worth it? I think we're better off bouncing something. I want to get my Scavenger down and start hitting them with it, and that's just not going to work. Okay. No Annex. But that's a good thing too. This is a kind of a scary fetch for black because we might end up unable to cast Borrowers. Charger. That pretty much shuts down the Enforcer. We'll also see if our opponent has another, I call it Hammer because of Volcanic Hammer. Royal Eruption is the name of the card that I have to get used to. Man, we have not milled an Embercleave or a Torbrand, so I'm like, in my head, they're all in my opponent's hand. All of them. Everybody going in. That seems to be a sign that the opponent has Rimrock Knight or Shock. If they had a Shock, they'd kill this, so we're talking about Rimrock Knight. So I guess we're just trading here with the Robber. We could take... Let's just take it all and race. What do we care? If we get to untap and have Brazen Borrower available, we should be able to stop an Embercleave. Yeah, they thought I blocked because I fake blocked then didn't. Good play. Top tier CGB. Nice. Alright. Anything I could do to mill? I could play the Robber and let the Borrower shields down. Do I care if they cleave me? If I play this and this? Like, is Embercleave even good enough? It doesn't do enough, right? Because we're going to gain 5. We'll go to 18. Yeah, it's not that good. So we mill them now. Just in case we get an Embercleave card type. There it is. 6. Oh, and 7 because we hit an Annex too. Yes! Attack for 10. 10! 7 life. I'm back to 20. What you got? Another Robber. Okay. Yeah! Your sword won't save you now. The power of the Scavenger is too much. This is a very slow controlling hand without mill effects, which scares me. But the mana's good and I have Scavenger. We're going to try it. This might be one of those I should mulligan because it's not aggressive enough. So let's see what happens. For science. As if I'm going to learn something that I'll apply to a future game. You know. In the new deck I end up playing. That's enough land, thank you. To the bottom. This is mono red. Might not be mono red. Let's go ahead and fire off a Thirst. Slow that down. Maybe I should have played the tapped black source there. In case I flood out, I tend to hold these, but that usually means I end up paying life later. Robber of the rich. Scavenge. Scavenge them. Let's see if they have the hammer. The Royal Eruption. Reading. Shock and Giant. Oh. Okay, double shock. Nice. Do what you gotta do. And now they hit Blood Chief's Thirst with their Robber. That's gross. Things going our opponent's way so far. Now we have to remember they got that Blood Chief's Thirst. Should we kill this? Just drown it in a lock right now? We can. We can also do it on their turn. They can't really stop us. So yeah, let's just play this and see what they do. Brazen Borrower is better against Annex because it doesn't have haste or an ETB. There's the Annex. Okay. Do I want to ambush this robber? Let's see if they attack. Alright, big choice here. We can ambush this robber. Or we can just block it. And just blocking it is fine. It's a very frustrating robber of the rich that we might have to kill at some point. Is now that time? We really don't want Bloodchief's Thirst to hit one of our own creatures. Yeah, it's time. Ouch! Pay 3 life against red. It's a bold move. Again, we can save this. We can play this now to hit a little harder. Letting Annex stick is okay as long as it doesn't get the Embercleave. Slaying Fire, Scorching Dragonfire. Wow, that's a lot of removal. How many cards in graveyard? 7. Let's just do this now then. I don't like giving the opponent a token that they get to attack with next turn, but I think the damage is completely worth it. Alright, big turn for the opponent. Let's see what they can do. We've got 9 then 9. We have a good clock. Ooh. They don't get their giant this way, but I'm pretty happy with that play from them. That could have gone worse. Okay, if we block here, we're not playing around Shock. It's not worth the risk. Or Rimrock Knight. Alright, I'd love to play this, but double Borrower is probably unbeatable. Four straight lands off the top. Gotta help the mono-red deck make sure they don't get mana screwed. Gotta be on their side, you know? Give them a little helping hand. Let's drop an emote on this. For the lulz. Wrecked. Wrecked by the boink. By the bouncies. Alright, if we had drawn one more Soaring Thought Thief, we could have killed them. But this is pretty sweet. We'll drop the Enforcer for the mill. 5-2. Insane. Scavenger for the mill. 7-3. Insane. Get him. You never know when you might get the mill and the kill victory simultaneously. Like the ultimate achievement. If it beats mono red, it's definitely a deck for me. We'll have to draw some land, but this hand is looking nice. Let's go to it. Double Enforcer is always a quick way to fill a graveyard, and hit very hard. Triome. Nowadays when I see this Triome, I immediately think they're going to do Lotus Cobra stuff. Ooh, you want to mill me? You want to mill CGB? Yeah, this looks like that Omnath deck. I haven't seen anybody else who put Ruin Crabs in their Omnath deck, so if you are a fan of the show, thank you. I now must destroy you and everything you are trying to build. Too bad I can't get this thing to die, but the opponent doesn't know that. Let's see if they block. Gutsy. Alright, what else you got? Second crab. Okay, it's a race. I accept this race. I could kill your crabs. Mr. Krabs. I could kill them, but I'd rather play this race. If I get raced out by the crabs, I deserve to lose. We're just gonna mill each other into oblivion. It'll be fun. Unfortunately, I still haven't been able to get to 8 cards because I didn't draw a spare rogue. So let's play this, have Zarasan available. Lofty Denial, Drown in the lock. Ooh, what do you do? I guess I just want to hit land here, so it's fine. Haha, now they're afraid to block. See that? See that? They're defending the crabs. Come on, try to Omnath me, I dare ya. Oh, crap! Okay. I mean, we kind of knew that card wasn't going to be a thing anyway. 35 cards? So many! It's so many! Triggers. Triggers. 29 cards? 2 Ruined Crabs. What do you got? Nothing? You got nothing? That's rough. I could bounce one of these. So what do they have? Just expensive cards, nothing else. I think I need to keep this counter spell. Yeah, let's use a Petty Theft here. Make them spend a mana. They may have an Escape to the Wilds coming. Zarasan? No good permanents. Would just be stealing a land. I think I'd rather hold up counter magic. But playing Zarasan or Brazen Borrower turns these into 3-power hitters. Oh, man. No, 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 no. Patience. Patience, everyone. Work with me here. Oh, they didn't replay the crab. What do you got? Escape to the Wilds. So drown this in the lock, then next turn we can Brazen Borrower and have Lofty Denial, or just drown. Yeah, let's just deny it. Next turn we have Brazen Borrower and Drown, and that's good. That grows the Enforcer. On God. Damage, down to 10. Patience. Patience, everyone. Terror of the Peaks. They don't have another land, or they would have played Crab first. I can play Zarasan, and then I can drown their terror. I take 3. I might also draw another removal. Only 1 swamp left. Keep that in mind when considering Fabled Passages as an option. Omnath and Cobra. Genesis Ultimatum. What did I say? Alright. Here we go. This is a little scary. Destroy this. Attack squad. Crab can block the Zarasan. In fact, something has to block anyway, or else it's lethal. So I don't think I'm getting my opponent's Terror of the Peaks, as cool as that would be. Good choice. Down to 4, but we are out of ammo. Still 22 cards in our deck, 37 in the opponent's. And that's a scoop. And we are back for the post-game wrap, and this deck is a freaking house. Dude, stats check. Thank you to MTG Assistant. Download link in the description if you want to help me out. Rogues, 9-2, 81% win rate in Mythic. The losses. This was a mana screw game. I don't know. I might keep it. I thought I had some good banter, but it depends on time. So if you saw the mana screw game, then you know the banter. And this one I'm definitely not keeping, this loss, because I just kind of drew the horrible side of the deck and a bunch of lands. So 1 loss to Severe Mana Screw, 1 loss to Severe Mana Flood, and just drawing the underpowered cards like multiple Wind Robbers. And everything else, like, The deck had a lot of options. Nearly every turn of the game, I was making important decisions about whether to attack, block, develop my board, or interact with the opponent. So it felt like I was always playing Magic, which is a great feeling in Magic that you don't get often all the time these days. And it was very fun. Reflections on the card choices. I really like all of this. Everything going on from here to the Rankle, I really enjoy. Like, the Blood Chief's Thirsts, I think, must stay until the Cobra problem somehow goes away. Drown in the Lock is amazing. And these cards early, like any curve that starts with Enforcer or Wind Robber into Thought Thief, feels amazing. And then there's Brazen Borrower. I love the Scavenger. In best of 3, I would probably sideboard it because it's not very good if the opponent's trying to grind and play a value game. But it is amazing in best of 1 because Mono Red doesn't play that new 3 damage effect very much yet. So, yeah. The card can just take over games. It just dominates combat. They're like, if they can't block it, it just races the opponent easily. It's awesome. And Rankle is sweet. A really great finisher. So all of this is good. What I'm not sure about, and what you may not need if you're thinking of what to craft and you stayed till the end, cool. You're cool. Cool Kids Club. You check in comments, Cool Kids Club. Did you stay till the end? Let me know. Anyway, I don't think you need to craft the Mauling. You can run another flip card, a removal spell, or a land, depending on how you feel about the mana base. I don't think you need this card. You can craft it for fun, but I don't think you need it to be competitive. So if you want to try to get it out of a pack or an ICR, that's totally respectable. And I still haven't done the thing with Awakening. So I feel like these could just be... I feel like if you turn these into Swamps and some Castle Locthwain, and you turn these into Lofty Denials, you might have a better deck. Just being honest. So that's my take on the situation. Let me know how it goes for you. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Remember to renew your Twitch Prime sub. And yeah. Bye.